Hey guys, hope you're doing well. I'm going to go ahead and get into this in just a moment. I've got some really dynamic things that I want to share with you guys. So just bear with me, and I'm going to go ahead and get this party started. The first thing that I'm going to share I'm just super excited that this thing is allowing me to stream inside my private Facebook group. Facebook was being something else. I mean, they really, really were. And so I'm very thankful. Uh, what's up, Ben's Build? Blessings. Come on in, guys. Let me know. By the way, let me know where you're tuning in from, guys, as you come on. I'm going to really get into some pretty cool stuff today. The first thing that I want to make mention of is, I just recently talked to, I just recently talked about, in some of my content about really how some people will, they'll hear about, hey guys, blessings. Tell me when you're coming in, where you're coming in from. But I've talked recently about how people are, it stinks, man, because like you're trying to say that God is doing some things. God is doing some things in this season, and that he's leading people prophetically on certain things to get involved in. And what's weird is that people will come in and they'll hear this, and then because they're brand new at investing or whatever, they'll go out and take a bite of the latest and greatest fad. And so I want to point out something to you guys that I just noticed. It's pretty crazy, but definitely worth pointing out to you guys. And I'm going to put this up on the page here. I'm going to show you something called SpaceX. Boom. It just launched on Friday. And you're like, took off, went crazy, and now guess where you're back right at 3 days later. And, I literally had people that contacted me and they're like, oh yeah, we're thinking about getting into this. Have you had any prophetic insights on that? And I'm like, why don't people follow what the Spirit of the Lord is saying? Now, I'm not a financial advisor. I want to make that clear, but I hate to see stuff like this because it's like, this is the type of stuff that really puts it into perspective. You've got the hype. It's launch day. Now, I'm not telling you it can't come up. Don't get me wrong, guys. But it's launch day right here, and it just pumps, comes back down. But of course, boom, it just starts going nuts. And then the hype and the fad and everything begins to wear off, and you're back down where you started 3 days later. And so my point is this, guys. My point is this, like, it's really unfortunate when I see people getting into things because they hear that God is doing something in this current day and age, and then it gets their juices rolling. It gets their blood pumping in that area. They're like, yeah, we need to do something. But then they don't do what God is speaking upon. They do what's all over the news. So anyway, I just wanted to point that out to you because it's just the type of stuff that bothers me. Now, watch this. I've been bothered before and have been, made wrong by the reality. So I'm not, like I'm saying, I'm not saying that SpaceX isn't going to do well. It probably will. I talked to one guru that basically said he was going to wait till the third quarter of the year to take a look at where it's at then to evaluate a possible entry position. And I'm like, now that's a guy who knows what's going on, right? I got a blessing for those who are not in my community, okay? Somebody asked me yesterday, they're like, hey, listen, I'm involved in 9,876 other communities. And they're like, so I'm kind of maxed out. They're like, however, would you be able to give, a little something about what the Lord is showing you? And so I'm going to do that actually at the end of this video. But I want to remind everybody, number one, oh, by the way, comment, let me know where you're coming in from, guys. Haven't done this in a while. What's up, KT from Tampa Bay? Technically Valrico. M. Willis 794 from Alabama. As a sponsor to the channel, praise God for that. Thank you for your support. There's a lot of people that are that sign up for memberships on my YouTube channel, even though my memberships on my YouTube channel don't really offer any added benefit. At least I don't promise anything. Maybe I should just do a blessing for those people too. I'm going to do a members only video in a couple of days. See what I can do to bless those people. That's a good idea. All right. I appreciate you are still giving. Well, good. Where are you from? Rangers for Life from New York. God bless you. I'm in the spirit, but my flesh is in Tulsa, Oklahoma. All right. Blessings from Hiram, Georgia. Suzanne, blessings to you. I appreciate that you are giving people that are not in your private community some wisdom. Well, thank you. I appreciate you appreciating that. My goal in all of this is just to try to get as many people aware of what's going on as possible. Even people, like I said, yesterday's video, I really did that was provoked out of a private conversation that I had with a very influential individual, someone who has millions of followers on their social media channel. And while I was speaking with them, I was just sharing with them my concern about, oh, by the way, that person is in my private community. But I was sharing with them, my concerns about what I believe may potentially be at risk for many Christians in this season, because we're about to enter into a short-term altcoin season where there's going to be certain altcoins that are going to run. But the warnings prophetically that there are certain altcoins that are not, that things are going to be changing drastically in the crypto markets. And you really need to be led by the Spirit of the Lord. Many have said, I have said, I'm thinking of two things at once. I have been saying in the coming days, you're going to want to follow the prophets and not necessarily the professionals. Now, you got to be careful, though, with blanket statements, because that does not mean I dishonor the professionals. In fact, I'm going to show you what one of my private community members said to me today. There it is. He actually bought those indicators that I was showing you guys yesterday, or have been for a few days. He says, I have downloaded the indicators, and I am extremely impressed with how accurate that they can be. I said, I know, right? Thanks for sharing your experience. Now, as you can see, he had posted that 24 minutes before. It was early in the morning. There wasn't a lot of traction. By now, there's probably some more likes on his and then on my comment. But regardless, I just took a screenshot of it right from the very beginning. But it was just my private community member sharing his unsolicited response. And if you saw those indicators, guys, you can actually change the accuracy level. In other words, you can not program it. You can click a button to choose 3 different levels of accuracy. Now, if you want it to be highly accurate, then you're going to get less, signals. But if you signals to buy and when to sell, I'm going to show you this on this Zoom or on this live stream, by the way, because it's super cool. And but then I'm going to give at the end of the video, at the end of this live stream, what I put in this title. It is time to buy this commodity. And I'm going to share that with you based upon a prophetic insight that I've only shared inside my private community. But I'm going to share it today on the live because I had a guy, like I said yesterday, he said, hey, could you do something for us that are not inside your private community? And I said, you know what? Why can't I, right? I'll give you something. It'll cause somebody to get into some profits potentially, because remember, nothing is guaranteed in the natural. There are only things that can be guaranteed in the spirit, which can influence the natural, but those are 2 different realms. I'm functioning from one, and then this natural realm doesn't necessarily like certain things being said. And so I have to throw that disclaimer in there and say that I can't guarantee anything in the natural. I cannot guarantee anything that I say it's going to happen, going to come to pass, but I know someone who can. And that being said, I appreciate you guys being on. What's going on here? My comments were stuck. Okay. All right. Let me try to get back to, okay, Hiram, Georgia. Okay. Saved by Jesus is from Georgia. God bless you. Margaret David from Louisiana. God bless you. Thor from Greenville, South Carolina. Leni E from South Africa. God bless you. Joseph. Jesus is the way, the truth, and the life. Don't ever forget that. Jesus is the truth. Thank you, though, for your support in believing in me, but Jesus is the way, the truth, and the life. Amen. God bless you from the Dominican Republic in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen. God bless you. Katie says, follow Prophetic Wildfire Live. Why not? Let's throw him a plug on this broadcast. He's an incredible prophet of God on YouTube. Just search for Prophetic Wildfire Live. Go back and rewind this later on if you need to. But I agree. All right. Thanks for the tips. I'm going to give you more. You're welcome. God bless you. I'm ignorant with training. Any idea how to trade for beginners in order to use indicators? Yes, yes, yes. If you look in the description section of this video, guys, listen to me. I am not kidding you. If you look, I have somebody about to get me riled up. Do you guys know the last market crash that we had on October the 10th? Okay. On October the 10th, where we saw the crypto markets flash crash in the one that God had given me, that I had prophesied 5 months prior. Well, hold on just a second. I'm looking for. So what was interesting, and I just want to, man, also, you guys remember that program that I was promoting last year? And it was a opportunity where you could get in on this selection of crypto picks. Well, we just had one of those coins literally just spiked. Hold on. I'm going to try to find it. And it's still spiking. This coin is just going crazy. Let me do the math on the scale here. 957%, okay, in the past 11 days. 957% in the past 11 days. Can I just say this for the people in the back? 900. This is basically a 10x move. And that was in the course that I was sharing with you guys last year. I'm telling you, some people do not have enough faith to hang on. And so sometimes you just have to, what's the scripture say? Actually, it's not a scripture. It's what my friend used to say. Time always reveals righteousness. Time always reveals righteousness. All right. That being said, oh, good grief. Did you guys see? I got to share this with you guys. Okay. This is about the beef, right? I actually sent some beef to a member of my private community because her husband wasn't ready to try it. I said, you know what? You guys need to try it. I want to bless you. Let me send you some. They tried it. I said, listen, no strings attached. You don't even have to order anything. Don't worry about it. I just want to bless you, but I hope you enjoy it. She's like, we are sold. She says, we're going to order sometime this week. Well, I literally sent them a whole package, meaning they had plenty of weeks worth of meat. She's like, we're going to order this week. Dang, you know, they really liked it. And it's true. By the way, the link's in the description section for that as well. You got to text the keyword beef to the phone number, all that stuff. But listen, all this stuff that I share with you guys, I do it for a purpose. I do it for a reason. The stuff that I share, I believe in. Okay, I believe in. And so when I tell you the fruit of it, like this 10x coin, maybe, just maybe, it should help you to be able to, you know, put some stock in, and I don't mean invest, I mean belief in some of the things that I share with you concerning what I believe in. I believe in them, so I share them. All right. That being said, in my recent video that I did the other day, and I'm going to move past this quickly, but I shared my warnings about XRP. From what God has shown me, and I need you to hear this, from what God has shown me, I have a price point to get out of XRP. Okay? And it's not what many people are thinking. And I have a lot of concern for some people because they're stewarding these prophetic words, which will eventually come to pass. But we have a prophetic timeline that many prophets are giving right now. That in this summer, we are going to see what would be deemed the beginning of the wealth transfer. Now, here's the deal. Let me show you prophetic painting here. I'm going to draw this out for you guys because I want you to see exactly what God showed me. Okay. All right. So God showed me that I'm supposed to sell my XRP. And here's the deal. Just like last year, I sold every single bit of it in my dream. And what was I going to say? Oh, and I had the same emotion in my dream. I was so excited. And I went live to tell you guys. I went live and and this one I will share publicly. I will share this publicly. He gave me the specific price point. And he said, this is where, you are getting out of XRP. And so I went live publicly, not in my private community. And I said, guys, I sold all my XRP at this specific price point that God had shown me many months ago. And I said, I let God be true. And I said, in fact, and I was glorifying God in the video, or in my dream on the video. And I was saying, God told me that it was going to go to this price range that we were supposed to buy. And it was going to go to this price range and we were supposed to sell. And I just sold everything. Now, this is going to be a price range where everybody's going to be expecting it to keep going in the near future because of some of the price points that have been released publicly by some well-known people that I honor. I just think they're for a later time. And so then in my dream, I went live, told you guys about it. And then on my live stream, I said, let's go look at the charts. Let's go look at the charts to see if I made the right decision. And while I went and looked at the charts, having no idea where it was going to be, it was down it was already down 10%. It was already down 10%. But it was just confirmation that it was confirmation that it was exactly the right decision. Then I had another dream. Where it crashed again. And guys, there are many prophetic words that are being released right now about some very bearish news that is going to come out for XRP in the near future. And I believe that dream where it crashed again, the price points are insane, is connected to that bearish news. And when Brandon Biggs prophesied that there will be a shakeout and that only 1% remain, I've been trying to tell everybody that, now listen, you have to understand me. I have a rule and I have to honor the members of my private community. I am not going to dishonor them. I respect my commitment to them. I obviously have the liberty to share whatever I want outside the private community, but morally, it's within reason. And so that's why I'm trying to give you guys as much as I can today. I do, and I will give you a price point about something else in just a moment. But, and remember, I'm not a financial advisor, and you should not do anything simply because I'm mouthing off price points that I get in dreams. Think about how silly that sounds. Christianity sounds very silly to a lot of people. Following the Spirit of the Lord sounds very silly to a lot of other people as well. And so, that being said, yes, God told me to get out of it completely, 100%. And you remember last year when he did this same thing, he told me to get out of it 100%. And I told you guys in my dream, I sold everything. And people are like, you crazy? And now here we are, fast forward a year later, and everybody's like, oh, that's what you were seeing, right? Yeah, that's how prophetic works, right? It sees the future. So anyhow, so yeah, I sold everything and then it crashed again, guys. And I think that's the part that people are not going to be expecting. And I think people are just going to be waiting, thinking that this, but here's what God did show me. He showed me not getting into it at that point. And he showed me getting into other coins at that point that are actually going to skyrocket. And what's crazy is the two coins that I can think of off the top of my head that he showed me are coins that I'm quite surprised he showed those to me. But when he showed me the specific price points, I said, wow, that's going to be a nice run. And we're already going to get a nice run on this deal. And then we're going to get, there's several things that he shared with me, but all of these things I have shared inside my private community. There has been a mass influx of people getting into my private community lately because they took what I said seriously, and they're like, you know what, you're kind of surprising me right now with the things that you're saying, and they surprise me too. But you have to understand, the Bible says, such is the one who is led by the Spirit of God is like the wind. You never know where it's coming from, and you never know where it's going. He leads with a cloud by day and a fire by night, and everything can be subject to change from one moment to the next when following the leading of the Holy Spirit. That's really where we need, and that's where the critics come in, because they're like, I thought you said, and I thought this prophet said, and what about this, and they're just like, they don't understand. We see in part, we know in part, we prophesy in part. Their words will come to pass. They will come to pass. They will. Just not necessarily in the timeline a lot of people are thinking. So let's get to this. I'm going to show you these indicators real quick because I got a testimony that I'm going to show you real quick. I think I've already shared it. But then I'm going to give you the price point that you've all been waiting for. Okay. And please remember, I'm not a financial advisor. And yeah, so here it is. He says, I have downloaded the indicators and I'm very impressed with how accurate they can be. Now, I shared the accuracy on my live streams, but I love when the person gets them themselves and they can go back through the history and be like, yo, this is really nice. I'm like, I know. It really is. That's why I've been sharing it, But here's the cool thing, okay? Remember, I had a person, and it's crazy because they're like, we're thinking about joining your private community, but they're like, have you got any prophetic insights about SpaceX? I'm like, nope. Well, here we are. It launched on Friday. And it went up and it went down. And so, maybe that's why God didn't say nothing about that one. You know what I mean? But I don't know if they got in it or not, but it bothers me when I see people, maybe they heard a prophetic word about, and maybe they're stewarding it. It's more long-term. That's fine. But I get disappointed, when people send me stuff, they're like, I'm like, oh, here's the prophetic price points that I'm getting about this. And then they send me some sort of scam. And they're like, you should check this out. I'm like, no, I shouldn't. That's a scam all day long. And it bothers me because people, they're just so scattered and they wonder why. You have to submit to people in life. There's a saying in business. What is it? How does it go? Success leaves clues. You ever heard that saying? Success leaves clues. Every business coach, every entrepreneur, every successful individual will tell you that your ability to grow and to succeed and to increase your net worth and to all these different things is only connected. I'm sorry, it is majorly connected to your ability to submit to mentors, people that are where you want to be and that you're willing to connect with, to glean from, to pull upon, to receive impartations, anointings, and strategies and mindsets and different things. All right. So that being said, I'm going to pull this up. And the price point is going to be here any minute now. So, whoops. Actually, oh, shoot. Yeah, this is it. So I mentioned this to my private community, and this is why, this is why it's important to see the value in things in advance. Because if many of you guys remember when I was promoting the offshore ID, where the president of the country issues these so that you can get in as a U.S. resident to an offshore exchange that doesn't accept U.S. clients. And literally the founder of one of the largest cryptocurrencies in the world started this program working with the president of this country to issue these so that we as U.S. residents can get access to exchanges that do not accept U.S. clients. And I mentioned the benefit of this is a few different things. Number one, the biggest one that really where a real life recent event should help us to understand. If you noticed on October the 10th, during the flash crash, and remember, this is a flash crash that God gave me prophetic price points concerning. You ready for this? And he showed me that XRP would go from 240 to 140 and then back up to 250. You know what the interesting thing about this was? The two worst exchanges. In other words, to capture that flash crash, the two worst price points, in other words, they were the highest. So if you were trying to capture, that crash, you would have never been able to on Coinbase. Unless you set your limit orders very conservatively, because their exchange, Coinbase, never got down below $1.70. 70. Kraken got down to $1.40. And I actually had some people in my private community whose buy orders went through on Kraken. Even though that was where it bottomed, they still were able to get their orders filled by the glory of God. But people on Coinbase were never able to come near those numbers because that exchange bottomed out at $1.70. Now, here's the crazy part. Binance and Bybit in, offshore, they got down to like $1.20. KuCoin got down to $1.08. So my point is, the worst exchanges to capture that flash crash were the US-based exchanges. This is why it's important sometimes to have access. And this is why last year when I was promoting this, I mentioned it's all about getting grandfathered in. So number one, when certain exchanges stop accepting this ID, you'll have a better chance of being grandfathered in to where they won't kick you out. And that's actually been proven. The other thing is that it's hard to order an ID, wait for it to come in the mail, then set up an account with another exchange that you're now using that for when you need to do something now. So you have to already be in position. The reason I'm telling you this is because for those people who took me up on that last year or even before that, you potentially have access to these offshore exchanges where you can, number one, diversify some of your portfolio, and number two, you can get in and have a better chance at catching some of these lower price points during these flash crashes. This is huge. And this is what I tell people all the time and why I'm so excited. I was shocked it was going lower when you shared last year, and a year later, even lower. Exactly. And that's the stuff that I was trying to tell everybody is that you have to know that God sees the future. And that's the point of the prophetic. And that's the point of, yeah, I had so many people attacking me last year when I said I sold everything. And they're like, you're a flop, dude. Like, what? And then here we go later. Time always reveals righteousness. Righteousness is him, God. So anyway, and that's why I keep coming out here and trying to because there's going to be a lot more people like you who are shocked. And those are the people whose attention I'm trying to get. People who may not have understood this back in the day. People who, maybe have their own opinion, maybe have their minds made up, maybe even mocked it, but are willing to say, all right, I got no problem eating some humble pie myself. Teach me how this stuff works. And that's what this is about, right? That's what I'm about. That's what, discipleship is about, etc. I should have listened to you. I would have doubled my bag. See what I mean? That's what I was trying to show people. You know how many times? Do you know how many times? Do you know how many times I shared actual chart? This guy right here. Do you know how many times I did the whole painting stuff, right? On this whole thing, and showed you guys how much you would end up accumulating of more XRP by doing what God showed us. So that's actually what I was talking about. And so thank you, number one, for your comment. Patty says, I had KuCoin, but when I went into it, they said I can no longer do it because of being a U.S. resident. Guys, this is what I'm talking about. This is what I'm talking about. So here's what I got for you guys. I did not put this in. You remember the drawings. Okay, good. I did not put this in the description section. Maybe I can, but there's the link that I can send you. This is the link where you can get a error occurred when it was trying to post it to Facebook. Okay, let me try to do that one then. So this link, and I'm on multiple different channels right now, guys. So I'll just pull this one up. You guys write this down. Take a screenshot of it with your phone. If you're on your phone, just screenshot it. The reason I'm telling you this is because this is how you can get that ID, where you can get in on some of these offshore exchanges. I think it's wise. And let me tell you another reason why I think it's wise, guys. Another reason why I think it's wise is because what happens if we get another administration like we had with Biden, where all these agencies were attacking? And this is why, by the way, a lot of these exchanges don't accept U.S. clients, is because they're afraid of our government. And let me remind everybody, it is not, I need to tell you this, obviously, consult whatever professional legal counsel you think you need to consult. But the way that I understand this is that the restrictions against these companies accepting U.S. clients is between them and the government. And some people don't even have restrictions. They're just afraid of these companies. The restrictions are not against us. We are allowed to do business out of the country. The beef would be between the government and then those companies. And so a lot of these companies, they want U.S. business. And so if we come in as a resident, because we get these residency cards with this other country, KYCing our account with that, well, guess what? And remember, that's issued by the president of the company. So it's totally legitimate. And so you're getting an issued card, residency card from that country. Really, really neat stuff. And it, like I said, it was created by the founder of literally one of the top cryptocurrencies in the world, like a gazillionaire, right? Okay. And so the point is, and let me try to edit this so I can actually get some of this in here, because there's two places. All right, I put it in the comment of my Facebook video. Sometimes these things won't post to certain places. So, oh yeah, and then my private group inside my Facebook. Wait a minute. Oh, here it is. I was like, where's the video? Oh, by the way, I see comments on Facebook that I'm not seeing on my streaming software. So that tells me, guys, and please forgive me, I'm going to get to the price point, guys, in just a minute. I know many of you guys are waiting patiently. Don't forget to avoid scammers in the comment section. YouTube is notorious for that. If you're on Facebook and you want me to see your comments, all you have to do is go to StreamYard.com/Facebook, and it will give this streaming software permission to for me to see your comments. All right. We've got 114 people watching live right now. And again, that's the combination of the channels, the different channels. Okay, so you should have the link there, guys. Like I said, take a screenshot of it. It'll take you to my website where now you can get access to these exchanges. I think it's an incredible tool for a lot of people, because don't you think it's a ripoff for the U.S. residents that the worst price points that we all saw in the flash crash of October 10th were U.S.-based exchanges? That's sad, and it shouldn't be. I kind of feel like that there's some, the same level of corruption that I believe can be involved in our government. I believe that they've got their hands in the cookie jar on that stuff too. I'm just telling you. It's crazy. And they probably, anyway, we'll just get off of that. Okay. That being said, these indicators, I'm going to bring you to that. And then on that very chart, I'm going to show you my price point. Okay. My prophetic price point. So remember, we were at Shiba Inu. Basically, oh, no, I wanted to actually show you really quickly. Where is it? There it is. Don't forget that course that I sold last year with the different cryptocurrency options that were, really good potential opportunities to get involved in. We just had one that 10x'd, guys. 10x'd. 1,000% in 3 days. Super incredible. Super incredible. So, you want me to tell you about the trickery of the soul? Sometimes when things aren't happening for you and for me, if we're not careful, we'll get mad at the people that introduced it to us. This is the benefit of patience. This coin 10x'd. If you would have held on to it, you would have been in a great position. Some people, they get out of it and they're like, this ain't doing nothing, blah, 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 because we went into a bear market. Nothing was doing anything. You have to be patient. And so sure enough, 10x. And of course, it's way higher than it was when people would have even bought in. Just beautiful. Absolutely incredible. And that's oftentimes the time that you want to look for those buying opportunities, is when the market goes down. And that brings me to this bad boy right here. Whoops. How am I drawing? Okay. this bad boy right here. So you've got, remember, in order to get this indicator to work, the market cycle highs and lows, you got to turn it on over here. Now, I could have left this on and it could be live right now, but I had it off because I was looking at something else. I was actually showing you SpaceX. That's what I was showing you. And I was like, look, guys, we're right back to where we were, where it started 3 days ago. So not a good investment if you didn't sell and take profits, right? Okay, that being said, we're going to go to Shiba Inu. And here are the candles. We're going to get rid of those. And we're going to stick with just the indicator. And now we're still in fear on Shiba Inu. We are still in fear. What do they say, guys? Buy the fear, right? Buy the fear. So it's important to understand that fear equals buying opportunity, okay? Now, nothing's guaranteed in trading, as they say, but, that's what this shows, is where you're at in the market based upon emotion. Bitcoin is in concern. It's in the concern phase. Concern. Oh, that brings me to this. This morning, I had shared with my community. Why is it gone? I had shared with my community this. I'm no technical analyst, guys, but I, have been known to have a little basic. And so this right here was basically the formulation of a bear flag. Okay. And so what I noticed is it was forming this trend line right here. And normally, and then by the way, if it's fairly accurate, you can actually clone that and then move it to the move it to the upside, and it should match. And it does. See that? And so now you have your flag. This is the pole. Obviously, it looks better when you shrink it up. But when I expand it, this shows how we broke below this trend line. And I was telling my community, I said, listen, now that we broke below this, this is actually going to act as resistance. Where it was once support, it becomes resistance. And so this morning, I said to them, as it was rising, I said, we are about to, I said, the high, and I don't know why it looked different on another chart that I was using, but the high was 65.2. 65.2 was what I came up with. And it stopped at 65.6. So that was pretty right on. But I told them that it could break through. It could continue to jostle sideways, where it might revisit it another day. But if it gets resisted hard enough, it can actually be what sends it down further. And so, yeah, I had shared all this with you guys as well. And then this right here, if you shrink it back up, this was another example. And then we'll duplicate that or clone it. And then remember, you should be able to bring that up here. Actually, you could extend that probably. And this is where it was forming, and then it tried to break above it, but it couldn't sustain, and it came down. And it came down, and then we could actually do this. And then this is when it breaks down. It normally has an aggressive move. So that's what I'm looking for in this little guy. Its downward move, isn't really expected to be considerable since it's so small. But nonetheless, If it breaks to the downside, obviously that could mean something for other coins as well. All that to say, let me get back to my other chart, and this is where I'm going to get to you what many of you guys have been waiting on. So this indicator, once again, is telling you that fear equals, buying opportunities. Greed equals selling opportunities. And if you go back, for example, this is a different indicator here where it shows you selling on the red dot, buying on the green dots. So it's basically telling you to sell right here. Well, look at where that was, right here. That is obviously very, very nice. Then you've got here, it's telling you to buy. That's very nice. Over here, it's telling you to buy. Well, that was the bottom in that short term, and so on and so forth. Look at all these bottoms, guys, where these green dots are printing. Okay. And so, when you're doing these little bitty trades, it's up to you to take profits. And so you never know how high it's going to go when it tells you it's a buying opportunity. But basically, it is extremely and has been extremely accurate. Right here is to sell. You see this red dot? That's where I'm going at. Very, very accurate, guys. Look at this. Boom. Sell it. It's telling you to sell right here. These are so cool, man. And I don't know that I've seen anything more simple, easy to understand, and so on and so forth. And so also, this indicator is the EMA distance analyzer. Now, there's one thing I want to share with you about this Pro Trade Manager. Please understand, all of these are actually on sale. There's a $50 off coupon for each one in the description section of the video, guys. But this is cool here because the benefit of the Pro Trade Manager is, I'm going to try to pull it up here. So they used specific coding to build something into that indicator called divergence detection. So this indicator has something that they've never seen before. They built it into the indicator. So your normal oscillator, when it reaches an overbought or an oversold threshold, which is basically what this is trying to, explain to you, is that when it's telling you to buy here, it's saying that it's way oversold. So it needs to now, and you can see this by these green, dips on these charts here. Same with here. This is, how far it's moving from the moving average. This is a separate indicator. This is a different indicator. I'm talking to you about this one, but I'm now referring to this one because this also shows similar. This shows how far it's coming down, but they're giving you these readings based upon two different things. This one is how far it's moving from the moving average. So it's saying this is coming way down below the moving average here, okay? And so that's what you're reading on these. But normally, okay, with these indicators, normally there's this thing called divergence. And so your normal oscillator, when it reaches an overbought or oversold threshold, it's going to try to move back down to a certain basis point, which usually would be 50 or even 0 on the indicator. While that's happening, the RSI or MACD, which are other indicators, or basically any indicator that has a retail that a retail trader would be using, they do not have a way to alert traders that there's an active divergence. And so basically when the banks are manipulating the market, and let me show this to you in real time. So this one here, for example, see these two red dots that are so close together. You know, sometimes they won't give you consecutive buying or selling options back to back on other indicators because they're waiting for it to retrace, right, back down to a certain place before they'll issue you another signal. Well, this indicator actually has the ability to pick up the active divergence, meaning the banks are starting to move it back up while everybody's, because they know that the majority of everybody's indicators are recalibrating. Basically, they're waiting to come back down to zero out before they begin scanning and reading for other opportunities. This one actually catches those in-between opportunities where the banks are trying to move it back up because they know that everybody else is waiting for these opportunities based upon their indicators. It is so slick, guys. It is so slick. Now, somebody had asked me, yeah, you can get back into KuCoin for sure, if they're still accepting this other ID. If not, you would just go with a different one. But you get the ID, and then you just start applying all over the place. And, you know, you can get in on what they call level 1 verification, where you're allotted in some of these offshore exchanges up to like $10 million a day. So, you know, you'll be fine. And the level 1 verification, you know, is approved without having to provide, you know, your water bill in this other country, you know, that sort of thing. They'll just take the ID and they'll accept it. And that gives you a certain level of account verification, which is huge with a lot of these offshore countries. You won't need any more than that. And so you'll just go and you'll just apply at every single one. That's what, you know, I would suggest, because remember, if you can get grandfathered in, if that exchange stops accepting it, then guess what? You're already grandfathered in. That's why I encourage people to go out and apply to all the ones they can. Then you're in, right? Okay. There was a comment earlier where by a gentleman who said, I would basically need to learn how to double my, I'm reading another comment. I basically would need to learn how to do basic crypto, you know, reading, crypto chart reading. And that's what I wanted to talk about. In the description section, there's a link that says getting started in crypto and how to learn how to read the charts or how to trade crypto. There's 2 courses on that website that will take you, okay, to a course where you can actually learn how to read the charts in a single day. They have a crash course, and of course you can take more advanced levels, but it's the coolest. That's how I learned how to show you guys what I show you guys on the charts, by that course and what it taught me. And so the only reason I would have been able to install these indicators and to even know how to use them is to have some sort of basic chart understanding. And you honestly, that might be questionable on whether you even need that with these indicators, because they're so user-friendly. They're so, you know, a 5th grader would be able to, you know, in my mind, okay? And I'm not a financial advisor, so remember that. But, so yes, to the person that asked me that earlier, that's inside the description section. He's like, what are you talking about? How do you? Let me see here. I don't know what YouTube channel you're on, so I'm going to share the link on all three of them. I see you're coming in from YouTube. So there it is in the live chat to XRP Free World. I just sent you the link to the ID. And all you got to do is just opt in. There's an ability to buy my full course at the bottom for 99 bucks, but that's if you want the whole course. The freebie is to get this, ability to get in on offshore exchanges. Okay, let me keep going. I'm going to show you these indicators one last time, or at least the parts that I haven't showed you yet. And then I'm going to give you the price point that God had given me. All right. Okay. So fear. Okay. This is basically when to buy. Now it can go into max fear, which is even a greater level of fear. And, but you can see every time you see the fear, look at the blue, and so you bought in, there's a 22% profit. Bought in, there's a 34% profit. From the blue, you read charts from left to right. So, boom, look at that. Boom, boom, look at that. I mean, it's just so beautiful when you understand how easy this is. And so some people might want to wait for the next dot to print on this one, for example, because it was, unless you're looking at where it told you to buy earlier and it was here, which is basically at the same price range that it is now. It hasn't printed a dot yet. And so it might be waiting to drop lower here, which is fine. Okay. But anyhow, this is just super, super neat stuff, guys. And you could see these purple lines, why it printed the green dot, because it was showing you how far it was coming away from the moving average. That's one of the things that I think it's programmed into it. So it was basically like, yeah, buy here. Well, it's got more programmed in than just that, because this dot was way up here on the moving average. These ones printed two dots though, because they're way down from the moving average. So it's got a lot of things built into these custom coded indicators, guys. They're so super cool. And that being said, this can be used for anything. Okay. Bitcoin, the S&P 500. Okay. The S&P 500 is actually in greed mode. Okay. It was actually in extreme greed right here. And it's still in greed mode. And in fact, the price point where it's at right now, it's really high. This might be a good time to sell some stocks in the S&P 500, and that's what I'm trying to say to you guys. Like, it is, and Gareth Soloway released a video a couple days ago about how, he's thinking we're going to go into we're mimicking, the Great Depression on the charts or whatever, or what was about to happen. So that being said, here it is, guys. This is my price point. Silver. Okay. Now I have a link in the description section below. Here's what, I got several people asking me the name of the indicator. Let me give you the price point on silver in just a minute, guys. Thank you guys for asking. I will get to that first before I go on. And I'm going to pull this screen up so you can see. By the way, if you look in the description section, if you guys are looking for the indicators, and don't forget of this testimony right here that just came in this morning. This is a guy in my private community that bought the indicators. He says, I've downloaded the indicators and I'm very impressed with how accurate they can be. I said, I know, right? Thanks for sharing. But the names for all three of them are actually accompanying the link in the description section. So you'll have the names for all three of them there, but I'll show it to you on the charts so that you can kind of get an idea of which one that you might want, or if you want all three or what have you. But this is my favorite, and I'm going to be transparent with you. I'm not really a good salesman, okay, because I just tell people what I like. Not necessarily what they like, but this is my favorite because it shows you where you're at in the emotion. Okay. And Bitcoin, for example, is in caution mode on this little blue right here. It was in the green mode, which would have been concern, but it's coming up a little bit into caution mode. And this is on the daily chart. The inventor of these indicators, he prefers to use the daily chart or the 4-hour chart. Okay. And then they're really easy to install. If you buy the indicators, it comes with instructions. Super simple. All you do is click this little pine cone deal right here, and that pine cone allows you to install the indicators using the instructions they give you. And you got to pay, by the way, for a subscription to TradingView, which is this trading portal. But man, if you're serious about using them, this thing will pay itself off for sure. All right. And just remember, they don't have 100% accuracy. No indicator does. He says if you find one that's over 70%, you got a good indicator. These are like 85, maybe 90. I can't remember. But he said you can't find a 95% indicator. So I think it's about 85. But you can even change the accuracy on these by clicking the settings, and it goes over all that. But so the market cycle highs and lows is this one. Market cycle highs and lows gives you the color coding, and then shows you those colors, where it's at in the market, et cetera, right? Why is this not leaving me alone? Okay. That's the market cycle highs and lows. Okay. And this one is the Pro Trade Manager. These are basically, I think, the two best ones. Now, the the third one that actually comes with the coupon is the market, or is the volume bubbles. This is the volume bubbles. This is to show you if you've got big whales behind the scenes buying and selling. And it shows you in the size of these bubbles how big the sales are. And he also told me sometimes when you see these big bubbles, he says sometimes the market reacts immediately. Sometimes it's delayed. So in other words, you might know it's coming before other people do because of these market bubbles. And it detects movement that a lot of these other indicators do not detect. And then he says sometimes it doesn't move at all. So just be aware of that. That's not guaranteed. That is just kind of like, it could give you a little bit of a warning, right? Like if you see, and you can create alerts on these indicators. And here's the cool thing. It comes right to your phone. You can install this app, TradingView, on your phone. And if you install these indicators on the desktop, that's where you'll probably want to install them. You actually see them on your phone when you log into your TradingView account, and you'll get alerts on your phone. So if it says like there's a big whale selling Bitcoin right now, they're just dumping, you can be like, uh-oh, I need to take a look at this. I need to be watchful of what's happening in the markets right now, and so on and so forth. So, yes, I just answered that. You can buy TradingView and the indicators on your phone and do trades on your phone instead of the computer. Yes. But you might, I don't know, you might need to install it on a computer. Just FYI. The installation of the indicators might need to be done on the phone. Guys, I got to transition. People have been waiting patiently. I got to give them the price point of what God showed me. Okay. Now, one of the things I will say is that I've actually mentioned this publicly before, because the Lord showed me. In fact, let me get rid of the indicator for now. The Lord showed me, I want to say in January. It was in January. He showed me in January it might have been after it was already coming down. I can't remember. No, I think it was while it was still going up. He showed me that it was going to go to $60, the $60 range. But I need to show you something. It's actually happened a few times. Right here, this was roughly 63. This was 61. This was 61. And this was 63. And we are now at 65. Okay? We are now at 65. Hold on. I'll get there. We are now at 65. So the Lord spoke to me back in January and told me that it was going to basically bottom at $60. Okay. Now, there's been some other prophetic voices that I have heard of that have said they've seen like $55. But one of them thinks that that was already fulfilled because that actually occurred on some sort of different exchange or whatever. He thinks it's already done, which is great. But it kind of solidifies my point, because I saw 60 and it got down to 61. And so that, for me, I tell people all the time, that's close enough. And right now, it's at 65. Now, where God showed me this was going, that's the unfortunate part that I cannot share with you publicly. Will it ever go down to $20? Not in the short term that I've seen, no. But here's the deal. I have a link in the description section. Please let me finish. I have a link in the description section where you can buy silver at spot. At spot, guys. So please check it out. And the reason I'm telling you this is because somebody asked me yesterday, would you give us a bone, basically, for those who are not inside your private community? I decided today I would. God showed me in January, silver was going to bottom out at $60. He also showed me exactly. That's what he was talking about. That's what he was talking about. He said that paper silver hit on the stock market at 55. So thank you for that. So he basically considers that to be fulfilled. You know how they say in crypto, never try to catch the bottom and never try to catch the top. Always go for the shoulders and the knees. So it's the same theory. Thank God he showed me the bottom, which was $60. Ended up being 61. I'm cool with that. He showed me it was the $60 range in my dream. And so here's what I want to say to you. I can't necessarily tell you where it's going, but I can clearly tell you that if you purchase silver today at $65, okay, and the company that I have that I in the description section, guys, I talked to the CEO the other day. Haven't been dealing with them a lot lately because silver's been pumping. It went up to $120 an ounce. And so now that it's back down to the range that God showed me, I reached out to him and I'm like, yo. And he said to me, and they also sell copper. They also sell copper. And there is a prophet, Manny Johnson, actually believes that copper is one of the 3 leading items in the wealth transfer from what the Lord had showed him is coming. So you can buy copper and you can buy silver through this company. But when I spoke with the CEO, he said, John, he said, unfortunately, we actually took away kind of our affiliate program. He says, our goal now is to just simply find the ability to give our precious metals to our customers at the absolute unbeatable cheapest prices that you could ever possibly find them. And I said, well, that's why I signed up with you guys to begin with. He said, we are kind of allowing those who are, who are already on our affiliate program to still be grandfathered in. But, it's not about that anymore. It's more about giving products away at the best prices that, your people can possibly find them. And I said, man, that's why I came to you. Nobody was ever able to beat our prices. So I encourage you. And remember what I said, guys. I only promote things that I personally believe in. I'm not telling you to believe in everything that I believe in. However, this is a very good company. They have a 100% buyback guarantee. 100% buyback guarantee. In 10 years, if silver is 20 times the amount that it was at when you bought it today, they will buy it back from you at those prices. Whatever they have it listed on their website that they're selling it for on that day, they will buy it back from you. 100% guaranteed. It's very solid. Comes with a certificate of guarantee as well, and so on and so forth. Yeah, good. That is the link, the silver and gold link. Yes. They also have the ability to buy it and have it stored in a vault. So you obviously own it, but it's in a vault, insured and everything like that. You don't have to store it on your person. So here's the deal. I can't tell you where the Lord showed me that silver's going to. That is reserved for my private community. But what I can tell you is $65 right now is very close to $60 where he showed me it would bottom. And I actually mentioned to my community last night in my private community, I said, you guys, please don't forget that the Lord showed me that $60 would be the bottom for silver. And I said, I really encourage you guys to take a look if you are interested. But I was just reminding them, we're here again. We're here again back at the silver. 65 is a very good price with what God is showing me it's going. And so if you just want to come back, in a month or so and go sell your silver for a 20% profit, by all means, do it. You know, the Lord showed me it's going above that. But I'm just explaining to you, if you want to be safe, right? And again, I'm not a financial advisor. Nothing's guaranteed in the natural. Okay. But I'm just telling you this because I want people to win. All right. And so I needed to give you something today. Guys, I'm out of here. God bless you. I pray this was a blessing to you. I pray you enjoyed it. And yeah, it's been a nice opportunity revisiting the public space again to a lot of our followers on social media that are not necessarily inside the private community. But of course, that can be subject to change if you decide to come on over, guys. All right. Okay. I am looking for right here. You're going to have to email me. If you signed up and you just don't know how to access it, there's a mobile app. There's all sorts of different things. Very good. I had somebody sign up yesterday and he said, man, I am loving this already. This is really, really good. I love the way it's set up. And so just email me, please. Anybody who has any issues with anything that you've signed up for or whatever, please always feel free to email me. Okay. All right. Let me see what we got. Yes. Yes. God bless you guys. God bless you. All right. I'm out of here, guys. I'll talk to you soon. Take care. God bless.